Hey y'all, 1776 Duck, welcome back to the YouTube channel. It's been a while. It's been a long while. There was some personal stuff I had to deal with. Of course, business for Alchemy Custom Weaponry. If you don't know by now, I work for Alchemy Custom Weaponry, and business is booming, baby. You know, if you sell 1911s, you're in the good right now. So it's just been real busy. And of course, as you can tell, got a new little studio here, not in the basement anymore. And a huge shout out to Hold Up Displays. Let me tell you right now, every person who's seen this, this display, this wall display, and I got another one over there in the corner as well, has been like, that's the coolest thing ever. And if you're a gun guy, it would behoove you, I think, to, you know, try to work yourself into a gun room with you know, wall display like that, because it's pretty fantastic and it really gives you a tingle in the dangle. But with that, let's get on. I want to do a quick video today. I'm not 100% ready to go full bore back into some deeper topics here. The studio is like 90% done, but not 100%, and so I want it to be 100% before we get really into that thing. So I want to do a fun video, and this is my top 5 favorite 1911s I own. Now, there has to be some, I guess you could say, some qualifications, if you will. I noticed that I was pulling a lot of Colts out because I like Colts. So I did have a kind of note that, hey, listen, don't repeat the same custom shop or same manufacturer in that regard, because most of these guns, once they leave, you know, once they leave their manufacturer that did the custom work, they're not really even Colts anymore. They just say Colt on the slide. So I tried not to double that up, and these guns will be in no particular order. And I might not have B-roll, but I will have pictures put up because it is a little darker in this studio for a little moodier experience. But I'll definitely have good quality photos that you can look at. So without further ado, thank you so much for joining me again. Top 5 favorite 1911s. Of course, all of them are in 45. This is in no particular order, but we're going to start over here. And this is, oh man, how do we not start with this gun? This is my Colt Hawk 1919 government model. So back when I graduated college, I had a hard chromed, and a couple parts were wrong on it, 1919 government model. I couldn't afford a nicer government model at the time, and I was just happy to have a pre-war gun at all, because pre-war 1911s are my favorite 1911s. And so when I graduated college, I thought to myself, hey, you know what, for a little bit of a present, because this was during the vid, and so, you know, you didn't have like graduation parties or anything. Not that I needed that, but, you know, during the vid, I decided, hey, you know what, for a little bit of a present to myself, I'm going to send this Colt to Nighthawk, get it all fixed up, and it is fantastic. It's a true sleeper. We didn't do anything aesthetically to it other than the sights. Kept the big wide spur hammer. This gun does bite you. You will bleed on this gun, and it is, you know, I've actually got a little bit of blood on it right now, but it is a fantastic, fantastic gun. It is extremely aesthetic. It just makes me really, really happy to see those old Colt roll marks and this smoke nitride finish. It shoots fantastic. It feels really good, and again, it looks like a proper 1911, being that it is a 1919 government model that was built on. The only other thing you can't really see here is I did have my last name engraved on the front strap, so that is definitely one of my favorite guns ever. There's a lot of emotion in that, on top of it being a pre-war gun, which is, you know, it's kind of my thing. Moving on, I kind of want to go here. So this, we have not had this on the channel officially. I think I had it on one of the, maybe the 70 series video. But this is my Wilson Combat LE AccuComp. And if you know me personally, I do not shut up about this gun. This gun was a 1989 Colt government model. Probably went to Wilson's pretty soon after that, I would say, even maybe 89, 90. It was very, very, very quickly turned into a Wilson LE AccuComp. A lot of stuff going on here. We got a video that's going to be coming out soon, hopefully, on this gun. I say soon. It could be a while. I'm sorry, y'all. But this LE AccuComp has provided me my fastest 45 build drill, and it was from from concealment, actually. It is a fantastic shooting gun, an addictive shooting gun, actually. And I am obsessed with comp guns right now. Just absolutely obsessed. I think they are just the bee's knees, son. I mean, this gun right here, and the other thing too about 45 comp gun is louder than shit. So when you pop this gun off, man, it really is like a small howitzer going off, and it is just a damn joy. I love, love, love this Wilson LE AccuComp. It was another thing too with this is the gentleman I bought this from has become a good friend of mine, and he, you know, just knowing I have one of his guns makes me happy himself. He actually has his original LE AccuComp that he shot back in the 80s and 90s, so that is pretty cool. And I've got a full Safariland a 007 comp rig for this, and it is the most gangster shit ever. I mean, it's so awesome. So this is one of my favorite guns I own. The comp actually does work. I used to not be a big comp guy. I used to think, oh, that's stupid, blah, blah, blah. I'm here to tell you, the comps really work, and this gun shoots phenomenally. Now, you take a gun apart, you know, and compare it to modern custom guns, you'll think, Lord, this was made in a cave. It kind of reminds me of, you know, the first Iron Man suit, essentially, which again is the coolest looking one in my opinion. But still, it reminds me of that because it was so crudely done, but man, it feels really good. The slide is super smooth. The trigger's really nice. Everything on this gun is just top notch. So definitely the Wilson Combat LE AccuComp. Here is where we start to get into my three guns, and there is a fourth that I don't have out here, but it's kind of a, you know, expected. But the three guns here that are really at the top of my list. And that, first off, we're going to start with this particular Colt government model. Now, you might be thinking, hey, is that a Colt government model? It looks kind of short. Well, it is short. This, my friends, is a Swenson Bobcat. Now, what is that? A Swenson Bobcat. Swenson, Armand Swenson. We're going to get into this. We've talked a little bit about him on the Hackathorn video because Novak, Wayne Novak, actually worked for Swenson. But I've got a big, long, juicy informational video coming out on Swenson and this particular gun in general. But this gun, it is a blessing to have in the collection. It is something that I never thought I would own. I'll be quite honest with you. I'd never thought I would be able to afford one of these, and luckily the gentleman who passed this on to me gave me a very, very, very good price that I was able to actually afford. This gun has a lot of history, not only in the custom 1911 Swenson world, but actually U.S. military history, as it was carried by Jim Wood in Vietnam. He was an Air Force guy in Vietnam, and he carried one of these in the M3 shoulder holster under his, well, not one of these, this one. He carried this gun in an M3 shoulder holster under his fatigue jacket. And so this is a special gun because Swenson is kind of the godfather of the combat custom 45. I'm going to be honest with you. It's sort of one of those things, like as someone who works for Alchemy, our lineage traces back to Swenson, you know. It really does when you think about it. And so to have something that's almost the genesis of the fighting 45 is simply something that I can't really describe to you how important and how special this is. This gun feels amazing. Even now, it is pretty smooth, honestly. You know, it's just like the LE AccuComp. If you tear it apart, you kind of, you know, and compare it to modern work, you'll think, what the hell is going on here? But, you know, you have to keep in mind when this was built, who was building it, and just the pioneer that Swenson was when it came to the custom 1911. So this gun right here is just, it hits a lot of marks. It hits the custom 1911 mark. It hits the U.S. military mark. It hits, you know, I've got to be really good friends with the gentleman who I bought this from, and he gave me a big packet of information on the gun and on Swenson. So, you know, this is one of those guns where I really am wanting to put a lot of effort into the video because there isn't a lot of information on Swenson out on YouTube, and I think it's imperative to get this information out in a way that's palatable by people my age. You know, I just turned 26, and almost no one that I know that's my age is familiar with, a Swenson Bobcat. It's funny, I was with some of my buddies and, I handed them this gun and they were almost unimpressed. They had no clue what it was. They didn't understand the history. And so it's something that I want to change, and educating people on what this gun is and the history of the Custom 45. So anyways, this gun is one of those guns that I never thought I'd own, and holy crap, I own one, and it makes me giggle like a schoolgirl when I see this gun hanging on the wall there. Moving on, I'll have to say, you knew this one was coming. Ken Hackathorn's personal Novak The Answer pistol. I mean, I feel like everything that just came out of my mouth should let you in on the fact that this is a gun that I had to have in my top 5. First of all, Ken Hackathorn, I consider to be one of my very, very good, I would even say a close friend, which is crazy because I remember when I got into shooting, well, and keep in mind, I didn't come from a gun family per se. What was my family? Anti-gun? No. But I am really the first gun guy in my family. So no one really was there to teach me about firearms. You know who was, though? Ken Hackathorn. I remember watching and rewatching every single video that had Ken Hackathorn in it. And he was almost a hero figure for me. And I remember watching those videos with my 85 Colt government model back here on the wall, really late at night. I got college classes at 8 a.m., but, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm practicing reloads and dry firing with Ken Hackathorn and Bill Wilson and Larry Vickers, all playing on the YouTube there. And so I've always loved, I've always really respected Ken Hackathorn, and I always really looked up to Ken Hackathorn. In fact, my dream gun when I first got into guns was a Wilson Combat Hackathorn Special. I eventually probably will get one of those just because it's one of those, I don't want to call it a childhood dream, but it's one of those that, it was the first, one of the first custom guns that I was familiar with after the Packmeyer Combat Special, and I realized that wasn't happening. So Ken Hackathorn means a lot to me. He's a good friend of mine. I don't even know if he's going to watch this. That's fine if he doesn't, but just know that this gun is one of the most highly regarded guns in my collection. So this is a Colt government model. This was built by Novaks in early 1990s. I did a video on it if you would like to see a lot of information. One of the, in my opinion, my favorite video I put out because I did a lot of research on it. And it's all business, right? I'm telling you stuff that you need to know. And so this gun has the Answer, obviously, which I think is super cool because I'm not necessarily someone who thinks you have to have a grip safety. And the Answer feels like nothing else you've ever felt in your hand. This gun is like a good handshake when you put it in your hand, and I love that. Of course, this has nods to Novak's time at Swenson's shop in California with the top treatment that's actually very reminiscent of the top treatment on the Swenson gun that I have here. And of course, I do also have that Novak 1903 hammerless, which also has the same treatment. So very cool there. It's become something I actually really, really like on a gun. I think it's super cool, super old school. Of course, the other thing too about this gun, this is my only gun that has real ivory. And, it's one of those things where Ken told me, a man ought to have a blued pistol with ivory, and he was very, very kind enough to include them on this gun. And this gun feels amazing. As I've mentioned with the Swenson and the Wilson, when you take it apart, it looks pretty crude. This gun is actually not the case. It's certainly not like a semi-custom where, everything's built from the ground up kind of deal. You're still working on a Colt frame and slide, and that has its own challenges, but it is actually really, really, really refined in here. I was really impressed with the craftsmanship. The fit of the Answer is the best I've ever seen, and I've only seen a couple Answers in person, and then I've only seen a couple more online, but looking at the lines and everything, this is one of the best fit Answer backstraps I've ever seen, and it actually kind of has this snap into place when you take it apart and put it back together. The gun has a beautiful trigger. Beautiful trigger on it. Very, very, very nice. Good carry weight on the trigger. It's funny, when I first got this gun, I didn't realize, I should have known better. Honestly, I should have known better. But I didn't realize that Ken had it sprung up for his geezer loads, which are very geezerly. And I went in there, I went to go shoot it for the first time, loaded a mag of 230 grain hardball, and just boom, and it really, like, it really snapped up. And I called Ken and was like, hey, what's that spring for? And he said, yeah, if you're shooting 230 grain hardball, you wanna put a better recoil spring in there. So I got a 16-pound recoil spring in it now, as it should. And I changed the mainspring and the firing pin spring. I just did a little spring swap since I was doing it, and just refreshed the gun. Fantastic. So now we're getting to, it's one of the guns that, it might be my favorite gun I own, okay? And I want to do a quick little thing here. The Combat Limited is not out here. It's actually right here. I realized halfway through this video I didn't have the Combat Limited out, but it's kind of my wild card, gun. It should be out, but I actually like this gun a little bit more than the Combat Limited, and I didn't want to double this up with two Alchemies because, you know, I wanted some variation for you. But the Pachmeyer, or excuse me, the Alchemy Combat Limited is one of my favorite guns ever. It should be on this list if I just wasn't trying to you know, solidify 5 very different guns. So, of course, the Alchemy Combat Limited, definitely a great gun. And I've got a video on that on the Alchemy channel, so if you're interested in seeing that, you can. But before we go on to my last gun, I want to quickly say, hey, if you're out in the market for a 1911, and you should be, check out guns.com. Use code 1776DUCK on any certified used gun, and that'll get you $50 off. Now, last gun. It is the Alchemy Classic Government. Holy crap, y'all. So this gun is a gun that I went to Nick and was like, it needs to happen. And I'll tell you why it needs to happen, Nick, because I want it. And so it's one of those things where the Resto Mod program in general has just become guns that I would like, that, you know, I can't really one-off, but we can make 25 of them, and I might be able to steal the prototype, as I have with this gun and the Combat Limited. But this is my Classic Government. I have changed the stocks to wood caliper Bastogne walnut, which are gorgeous. Of course, the stocks that came on the gun are very beautiful. Also, American Holly grips that we actually make in-house at Alchemy Custom Weaponry. So this gun is a 5-inch Alchemy. 45, obviously, as all the guns here are 45s. It's 45 Friday, okay? Get with the program. And this gun has the traditional kind of 1918, 1919-esque roll marks here on the slide, of course on the other side too. It's made to be very reminiscent of the you know, early pre-1924 Colt government models, flat mainspring housing with the lanyard loop. We did obviously do a little bit back here to make it better shooting. That's the better grip safety, the slightly better thumb safety, and of course the bob spur to interact with the grip safety better. But overall, I wanted this gun to kind of appear like a little bit of a pre-24 hot rod, if you will, and it's perfect. It is, in my opinion, probably the perfect 1911. I am obsessed with this gun. Now, I basically, you know, I've had a large hand in designing it. It would be weird if I wasn't. But this gun, there's something about this gun that speaks to me at a level that no other gun has, because it checks all my boxes. We have the classic aesthetics. We have front strap checkering. We have a little bit better grip safety for, you know, not only depressing the grip safety, but also shooting the gun. If you shoot this gun, I mean, this is the original 1919 that was worked over by Nighthawk. I kept the original grip safety on it. If you shoot this thing a lot, there will be a lot of blood. Okay, you look like that Carrie gal. I think that's who it is. But anyways, this is very shootable. It just performs perfectly as you would expect an Alchemy to perform. And of course, like I said, there's a little bit of pride and a little bit of emotional attachment. It's one of those things, like, there's a lot of guys I know that don't really get emotionally attached to their guns, and that's cool, that's fine. I can't. I'm very emotionally attached to the majority of my guns. And if I'm not, they usually get down the road. But this gun is a gun that I can see myself carrying at my wedding, at very important events in my life. It is just something that it just speaks to me on every single level. It's the perfect 1911 in my mind. Now, of course, the finish is the classic the vintage classic finish from Alchemy now. So you can get something very similar to this, but this gun has sold out as far as I'm aware. So, listen, that is my top 5 favorite 1911s that I own. I hope you enjoyed this. This was fun. Just a quick one. I say quick, and it ended up not being quick, so I apologize for that. But thank you so much for joining me again. I hope you like the new setup. If you do, drop me a comment. I'd appreciate any feedback you have as to, you know, what we could do better, or what I could do. I don't know why I said we. There's no one else here. It's just me talking to a camera in a room. It's kind of a weird thing when you think about it like that. But I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the support. Like and follow here, and then also follow on Instagram, 1776duck. Appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day.